You had any doubts you haven't even gone through. All that, and you should have asked me about it.
What do you even mean by that?
It means that I was planning to already up with you.
What? Does that mean you want to get a divorce?
Yes, that's what I mean. So, I always carry a bit of you with me too.
Saying that, my husband, Frank, brought some papers from his bag. It was the divorce papers, and Frank had already signed his part. My name is Allison, 29-year-old working as a K. It has been 2 years since I married my husband, Frank, who is the same age as me. Until recently, I thought I was going happily ever after with my husband. But then, I just had to see it. I saw a woman's name, which I have before, floating on the screen of husband's phone. It happened just when my husband was shower. My husband had been reading a magazine, then put his phone on top of a pile of books on the living room table. My husband has a habit of leaving books untouched for weeks, and after a while, some of them would naturally become outdated. When I warn him about them, he puts them on the bookshelf, but he tends to be lazy like that. He left the books out again, huh? At that time, I couldn't be bothered with him anymore, so I tried to put them away from him. And since my husband's phone was in when I moved the phone onto the table, the screen of the phone came on, and the notification that he got a text message appeared. I saw a message under the name of a named Sarah, and I saw a message from which said, "I'm looking forward to you tomorrow."
Who are you?
I looked at the screen and froze for a moment. But just then, I heard the door to our room open, and I quickly put my husband's phone back in its place. I couldn't even put the books away. My husband came out of the shower with an unsuspecting look on his face and sat down on the couch. Then, as if he had noticed, he took and looked at the screen. I was glancing at him from the kitchen not to be noticed, but my husband was at his phone with a little grin on his face. Wow! So he is cheating on me. So I officially requested an investigation so that could get some evidence against my husband and his allegations. And although I didn't want to belie, became crystal clear that my husband having an intimate relationship with a woman named Sarah. He stayed at Sarah's house on his business trips 3 and on days. When late and came home late, it went to a hotel with Sarah. I got even more depressed as the Evie photos came out one after another. I am ashamed to admit that at that still had feelings for my husband. So I was willing to forgive my husband, but he just couldn't resist his temptation. I told my husband that I wanted to him when he came home from work and down in the living room. I showed him the photos I received investigator and asked him what this about. But shockingly, my husband answered,
Wow, you used an investigator to check out your ex-boyfriend? That's impressive. If you had any doubts you haven't even gone through. All that, and you should have asked me about it.
Does that mean you want to get a divorce?
Yes, that's what I mean. So, that's why I always carry a bit of you with me too.
Why did you cheat on me? And you're saying that you want,
Why can't you even understand that?
excuse me,
Because, you never got pre-Allison.
what is the purpose of this website?
I'm not the type of person who's lazy enough to stay with a woman like that, thinking about the future. So I thought it would be better to another woman instead of you.
No way. But we've only been married for 2 years. In general, there are a lot of couples who go through a period of time when they won't have kids yet, right?
So I told you already, I'm not that type. Allison, you are not trying hard enough.
How could you say such a terrible thing? Besides, making a baby isn't something only the wife has to work hard for. It's something that the couple has to work together for, right? You're responsible for it too.
What the hell are you even saying? How can that be? You have to admit that there's some wrong with your body, which is why get pregnant. I mean, It's what my mother says, too.
This has nothing to do with your post, Frank.
My mother-in-law, Jackie, would always ask me whenever she saw me if I was pregnant with their grandchild yet, when she said, "You must be one hell of a woman who can get pregnant with a man like that after 2 years." To me, I couldn't believe my ears. So that's why I didn't really like it. My husband defended me every time my mom would criticize me, but lately she has been really harsh with me, and I feel like he is starting to side with her.
My mother also likes Sarah, too. So now all I have to do is get a D with you, Allison.
Hey, wait a minute now. Does that mean that Jackie already knows about you cheating on me?
I mean, my mother has already met say times. Sarah is 5 years younger than me, so I'm happy that Sarah's young and there's a good chance of her getting pregnant.
I didn't know where to begin anymore. I couldn't believe that so much had already been discussed behind my back. Before I knew it, tears were flowing down my cheeks. My husband looked at me with disgust.
Oh, come on. Don't tell me that you to divorce, okay? I'm already ready to remarry Sarah. Well, I'm going back to my parents for a while, so please think positive about our divorce.
With that, my husband began to pack his belongings. He didn't care at all that I was crying. I became emotionally unstable and started binge eating, vomiting, binge eating again, and then vomiting. Because of this, I got sick and had the hospital. My head hurt and my stomach felt really heavy. When I went to the hospital to have tests done, the doctor mentioned that I hadn't had my period and told me that I was pregnant. The doctor also said that the nausea thought was caused by binge eating or mental shock, could be due to pregnancy. I decided to go to the organ clinic to get it officially checked out just to be safe. After the test at the clinic, I was told that I was actually pregnant. I had thought that my period came with an irregular menstrual cycle and that I was mentally ill because of what happened, but I had no idea that I actually had TC. When I learned that I was pregnant, all my strength at once, I had no idea that I would find out I was pregnant just after my husband, Jackie, treated me like a woman who could get pregnant and even divorce me because of it. Thanks to this happy news, I didn't care about my husband at all anymore. Maybe this is what it means to be. It simply made me realize that I had to be strong for the sake of my baby. So I should leave that scumbag asshole and forget about him forever. I packed my bags and was ready to leave immediately. I explained the situation to my pair. They agreed to let me live, with then time while I took the the divorce. Then, a week after that divorce, my tall husband came home again.
Have you properly made up your mind, get a divorce?
My husband said that to me as he looked annoyed. So, I gathered all my strength and replied to him.
Yes, I'm glad to get rid of a lousy terror like you.
Oh, really? Then please just get the hell out.
But before that, you have to promise something, okay?
I took out my voice recorder and pressed the pre-record button. My husband looked at me with disgust. But when I said it was okay, he agreed to pay the alimony. My husband's family is rather wealthy. His father had already passed away, and Jackie had received quite a large inheritance. So I guess alimony is nothing to them.
Are you satisfied then? If so, get the hell out of my house.
I'm not done yet. There's one more important thing.
What is it then?
I'm pregnant. So you better pay the child support, okay?
What is the best way to get rid of a cold sore? You really got pregnant?
Well, yes. I did get a checkup at the Obgun clinic.
My husband looked really surprised. I guess he was shocked to hear that.
Is it really me, my baby?
Of course. Besides, I never had an affair until. Anyway, you have to pay child support. Promise me that you will never see, or Jackie will never see my child again.
To that, my husband looked really annoyed, but agreed, saying, "All right then." Was not sure if the recording was good enough, so I asked him to write a memo.
Well, all I have to do is have a ball, Sarah.
Elle was angry that my husband didn't respond at all about my baby, but at least he has agreed to all my requests and everything is going well. So, like that, our divorce was final. I hired a lawyer and had the lawyer communicate about the alimony payment to Frank. Neither my ex-husband nor his mistress were particularly stubborn about it, and they both agreed to the payment. Later, I gave birth to a beautiful, became a single mother. With the help of my parents, I worked my job and spent happy days at home soon. Then, on one weekend, Jackie suddenly my parents' house.
What's going on all of a sudden?
What is the meaning of this? I want to see my grandchild.
Excuse me.
Jackie suddenly came charging at me, demanding to see her grandchild. At that point, it had been 2 years since I divorced Frank. Why did she suddenly come to me?
Now, wait a minute. I divorced Frank on the condition that you and Frank wouldn't see my son. That means that you have no right to son.
Shut the hell up. I don't care about that. I have all the rights to see your son. I am related to him. Hurry up and bring out your son.
Bring out? Don't say it like that, as if I were your son.
Oh, that's enough. I'm going to call the police.
Don't be stupid and just get the kid.
I'm so glad I left the front door closed. If I had opened the door, Jackie would have rushed inside. Then, after a few minutes, the police arrived.
Hey, you! Did you really call the police on me? I can't believe this.
When I turned around, my mother said she had called the police when she arrived at the house. Good job, Mom. Jackie was then taken to the police. I went with her to the police static questioning. After that whole incident, I received a message from my ex-husband saying, "You called the police?" And another message that said, "Mom wants to see her grandson." To that, I replied, "Did you forget what you wrote? Did you forget about recorded data? If you want anything me, you'll have to go through my lap." It seemed like Frank read my message, but I never heard back from him again. But then, after that, Frank and Jackie, that they had the right to see through my lawyer, but because of the recorded audio, as well as what my husband had written on the memorandum, their request was denied. My lawyer showed them the recorded memo and told them that they were not allowed to see the child because Frank had agreed to these terms in the memorandum. Jackie seemed to jump on my lawyer moment and was screaming hysterical. Frank, on the other hand, was trying so hard to get my lawyer to accept his request. My lawyer was also troubled by the Frank had started to talk about. His story, which my lawyer had not even to talk about. According to the story, Frank S. Love could not get pregnant. I do know the details, but it seems like she experienced some difficulty in getting pregnant when she was younger and had several miscarriages before finally having her first child. Plus, Sarah hid that fact from Frank married him. After 2 years of marriage, Sarah had been constantly asked by Jackie if she was pregnant yet, which Sarah finally revealed to be true. Jackie then got furious and told Sarah off, "Get out of my son's life," and forced Frank to get a divorce. And at that time, Frank said, "I will never divorce Allison." My ex-husband had kept it a secret from me, Jackie, because he was expecting a child with his new wife, Sarah. He should have just kept it a secret. But the fact that Frank and Jackie me again was actually a good thing. After all, Frank had only paid $300 for the first 6 months or so. So this time when my lawyer met with them, he demanded child support payment from them. The moment Frank was told about child support, he suddenly burst. into tears and said, "No, it's not true. It can't be." I had asked my lawyer in advance to be frank with me about the child support payment, so the lawyer strongly urged me to pay. My ex-husband reluctantly agreed, but then he has been paying child support. And because of what had happened, I obtained a restraining order against Jackie and Frank. They both seemed to be completely fine about it and stopped coming over or stopping contacting me. For now, this will give me some quiet for a while. A scumbag man like him and his annoying mother had made my life difficult. Just be thankful that I've met Mike.
Isn't it a bit old-fashioned in terms of values to call someone a woman who is pregnant after just 2 years of marriage? And I think getting pregnant is something that comes naturally, not something you can force or pressure someone into doing. Frank and Allison loved each other, married, but I can't believe that Frank switched to another woman just because she couldn't get pregnant. I thought, how could such a scumbag him get another woman? But that new seemed to be quite strange as well. Well, as it turns out, Frank got double-dipped, so it's what he really deserved. I hope Allison and her adorable son make lots of memories and live happily ever after.
Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you at our next video conference.